Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. President Biden will address the American people later today about the situation in Israel. The White House says this morning Biden will again speak to Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu along with Vice President Harris. As NPR's Tamara Keith reports, the White House now says at least 11 Americans were killed in the Hamas attacks over the weekend.
The White House says Biden will deliver remarks about the terrorist attack in Israel. The president spent the long holiday weekend meeting with his national security team and working the phones with allies, including calls with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
But you're going to call it terrorist.
Biden pledged full U.S. support with aid already on the way. The White House is also preparing for what spokesman John Kirby described as the grim possibility that Americans could be among the hostages now being held by Hamas. There are a number of U.S. citizens still unaccounted for, and Biden said in a statement he ordered his team to work with Israel on hostage recovery efforts. Tamara Keith, NPR News.
Pro-Palestinian activists have held rallies criticizing Israel. Some human rights groups are also criticizing Israel's response to Hamas's attack. As NPR's
they were read out by the warmongers.
Pro-Palestinian groups marched in cities across Europe and the United States. Manolo de los Santos helped organize the rally in New York City. He told NPR he wouldn't condemn Hamas's attacks on civilians.
That is not my responsibility. But I do have a responsibility as a human being, as a U.S. citizen, to denounce
as a human being. It's not my responsibility to condemn attacks on civilians.
Palestinian people.
34 student groups at Harvard University also issued a statement blaming Israel for the violence. The rallies and statements sparked a fierce backlash from Democratic and Republican politicians who've described pro-Palestinian activists as cold-hearted and morally repugnant. Brian Mann, NPR News, New York.
Meanwhile, the Israeli military says sirens are sounding in parts of the country today, including in Tel Aviv and in southern and northern Israel. House Republicans are expected to hold a candidate forum later today. They're trying to choose a new speaker. NPR's Windsor Johnston tells us 2 candidates are working to lock down votes from the Republican conference.
Congressmen Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise appear to be in a tight race in their quest for the gavel. Jordan picked up a key endorsement last week from former President Donald Trump and has support from members of the Ohio delegation. Scalise also received several high-profile endorsements. With just a day to go before an expected vote, it's unclear whether either candidate will have enough votes to secure the speakership.
NPR's Windsor Johnston reporting. On Wall Street, stocks are higher. The Dow Jones
Trump
Industrial Average is up about 154
Israel,
points,
gave him an embassy, and then Biden wants to side alongside him to fight war.
Robert Kennedy Jr., who was running for the Democratic presidential nomination, says he will now seek the presidency but run as an independent.
Instead of defunding them,
he says it was painful
taking away
to
the
turn
war,
away from his family's
they move an
political
embassy there.
party. Kennedy Jr. is known for spreading anti-vaccine conspiracy theories. His decision drew fire from Republican activists who may be concerned Kennedy could draw votes from a GOP presidential candidate.
2 sides of the same brain.
Violence is breaking out in some spots in Guatemala City as Guatemala's popular uprising continues. The country's president went on national TV last night, but Maria Martin reports he said nothing about the demands of protesters.
As the number of blockades continue to grow throughout Guatemala, President Alejandro Yamatei called the actions illegal. He says the protesters aren't, quote, very many, and he didn't mention his controversial Attorney General Consuelo Porras, whose resignation is the principal demand of those taking part in the actions.
Just like building the wall. Trump wanted to build the wall, Biden got it done.
On reformist President Bernardo Arevalo to meet with him.
Same thing.
For his part,
Trump moves the
Arevalo
embassy
says the state's
to
using
Israel for the
violence
first
against the
time.
protesters.
Biden gets over there and starts fighting war.
Infiltrators as violent incidents were reported in Guatemala City.
Same brain.
Arevalo says this could be a prelude to the government declaring a state of siege. For NPR News, I'm Maria Martin.
Again on Wall Street, stocks are higher. The Dow is now up 130 points. The Nasdaq is up 123. This is NPR.
In NASA News. Download the full resolution version from the Space Telescope Science Institute. Filaments of dust and gas festoon this star-forming region in a new infrared image from MIRI. One of the greatest strengths of NASA's James Webb Space Telescope is its ability to give astronomers detailed views of areas where new stars are being born. The latest Project Solar Wind Pickup Ion Composition Energy Spectrometer SPICES Snapshot. SPICES is a new sensor that will help scientists discover where matter originates and how it is energized throughout the solar system. Imagine that you have a secret decoder ring that you can use to decipher a secret message with important clues about things around. NASA's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope team is exploring ways to support community efforts that will prepare for the deluge of data the mission will return. Recently selected infrastructure teams will serve a vital role in the preliminary work by creating simulations, scouting the skies with other telescopes, calibrating Roman's components, and much more. An annular solar eclipse is crossing the Americas on October 14, 2023. This astronomical event is a perfect opportunity to capture unforgettable images of the moon taking a bite out of the sun or creating a ring of fire effect in the sky. Whether you're an amateur photographer or a selfie master, try out these. NASA's Stennis Space Center near Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, joined with Evolution Space on October 10th to announce plans for the aerospace company to establish production and testing operations for solid rocket motors on site. This is another great addition to South Mississippi's commercial space engagement, Center Director Dr. Rick Gilbreak said. Evolution Space gains access. In weather. Right now in Seattle, it's 54 degrees Fahrenheit with rain. Throughout the day you can expect more of the same, with a high of 60 degrees and a low of 52 degrees.
Amazon.
From NASA.
Off. Amazon. Tell us a joke.
What did the Panthers say at the poker party? I'd be lying if I said I was a cheetah.
No, you wouldn't. You'd still be a Panther. Okay. All right. Well, you know, this world is, well, corruption is here for sure. It's very angersome. You know, the Romans back in the day made it illegal for you to worship outside of a temple, right? So, sounds a lot like stuff went down during the pandemic. I mean, government just has a way of rubbing the people wrong. And, well, you know, enough said on it. Y'all have a wonderful Tuesday. Try not to dwell on things. If they upset you, just bring good positive vibrations directly around you whenever possible. Peace, love, happiness. Fight the good fight if you have to.